Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 65. So I hope everyone's well on this Monday night. Should be a good show coming up. Got plenty to talk about. Heaps of news have happened, and heaps of big storylines coming out of the week. So it should be a good show in general. So I'm looking forward to it. But tonight on the podcast, we've got both All Out Champa making his return from his absence last week, which is always good to see. And at such late notice as well, and I do appreciate him for coming on yet again, Dragons fan, guys. So, it should be a good show. I'm keen to do it for you both. I'll start with you first, Champa. Good to have you back on the podcast, brother. How are you?
Yeah, it's good to be on. Thanks, Lorenzo. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I was on holiday for my birthday. But other than that, I'm back on the show. Thank you, Dragons fan guy, for jumping on. Guys, we've got a big episode here, episode 65. We've got a lot of big news happening, and a very exciting round of footy to cover, especially the game that me and you were at, Lorenzo. So everybody stay tuned.
Yeah, well, across the weekend, I guess we were both at the Manly Cowboys game and did the whole meetup with everyone else and all the other YouTubers and mates and stuff. It was just incredible. I had a great time, and we will touch onto the round of footy soon. And Dragons fan guy, mate, good to have you back on the podcast. How are you going?
I'm good. Bit tired, as I said earlier, but I'm good. Just off from a week off on holiday, so yeah, all good. I'm happy the Dragons didn't get a loss this round, so a little bit better off, I guess. No, I'm good. Good to be back on again. Thanks for having me. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, no worries at all. I guess as always we will touch into the round it was and give our thoughts on it, but go for the live chat. Got 10 people in the stream as we speak, so it's not a bad crowd. Got a few people. Got Will, Jason, Rugby League Roundup, Jason Rabideau, Josh Rabideau 2023, William Pearson, Cody Games PlayStation. Saw him on the weekend too. It was great to see, and SS Storm fan as well. And Will said the Dragons have the bye. Well, they did. So I guess no loss for them. So. They'll take 2 points, I guess. But, other than that, good to have a good chat so far. And, it should build up over time, the live chat. Anyway, we will touch into the round of footy it was now. But, round 20, obviously, like I said before, me, Champa, and fellow content creators were all at a few games as well. I mean, me and Champa were at the one, but I was at both for Manly Cows and Titans and Eels. But it was an interesting round. I think it was better because more teams were playing, I guess. But a few very interesting moments happened. But I'll start with you first, Champa. At round 20, what did you make of it?
Well, yeah, look, it started off with State of Origin. That was pretty good. The final game where the Blues got off, which was was that last? Am I tripping out? Was that last week? No, it was this week.
This week,
yeah. Sorry, I just had a blind moment there. Yeah. Great to see Blues win Game 3. Now onto the round of footy. Look, it was a very interesting round. Didn't start off the best with the Tigers taking a pretty hard defeat from the Knights, even though one of the first tries really should have been a try, but I'm not getting into that. Other than that, you had Brisbane smashing the Bulldogs. You also had the Warriors smashing the Sharks, which was great to see. And also, and of course, the game that you and I went to, Cowboys Manly. Obviously, not the match you wanted to see. Cowboys were just too good for Manly. But other than that, it was a really interesting game. Roosters Storm. Look, Storm too good for Roosters. The Roosters are just not the juggernauts they once were. Parramatta Titans, probably game of the round. How exciting! How exciting was those final 10 minutes?
I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked how good it was.
It was pretty good, and we're going to get into that game very soon. But yeah, look. Oh, and also Penrith coming back at the end from a very resilient Dolphins side who showed a lot of heart,
Yeah.
which was great to see. So, look, it was a very interesting round of footy. And look, the next round 21, is shaping up to be just as good. So I thought it was a pretty good round of footy.
No, for sure. And I think, I think the games were a bit better this weekend. I think there were more quality shown and stuff like that. So, it made up for the round it was before, as I guess teams had the bye and it was Origin affected. But this round was good, and I think it's always good to see. Just in the live chat, I've got two things to get into. So I'll get into the first one. Lucky Lachlan, I believe that's the Roosters fan. He has donated with a $2 donation, and thanks for that. He says, tell me about the Roosters finals chance as well. Funnily enough, we will talk about the Roosters in the topics very shortly. So, we will give our thoughts on the Roosters and I guess why they've declined so much this year. But honestly, for yourself, mate, hopefully they get better soon. But right now, thank you for the $2 donation. Means a fair bit. And just going to look at this. Loomy from CJ Moxley and SS Storm fan. Yeah, well, look, if Loomy was playing, I think Para would win by 80. So it wouldn't be like just that 1 point difference. Because I think when you think of Loomy, right, he's like a cross path between Lockyer, GI, Slater, and he's better than Brett Stewart, better than Hayne, he's better than all of them. He's got that. Look, he may, I guess, not look or see properly through both eyes, but that one eye, that's all he needs. He's a top bloke, and he's a fan favourite for a reason. So
look, it's like when you think of players, you just think of there's Jonathan Thurston, Cameron Smith, Andrew Johns, and Isaac Lumi. That's just he just fits very perfectly in there.
He should be part of the big three or the big five or something. Honestly, he's classified as the GOAT for a reason. So there needs to be more respect on Isaac Lumi. So Brad Arthur, pick up your shit and pick him more, I reckon. So there you go. But Dragons fan guy, what were your thoughts on the round of round 20? Obviously Dragons to the bye, but what do you think of it?
I thought it was a decent round. I watched every game but the Cowboys one. Just wasn't able to watch it, but I thought all the other games were decent. And the Knights game, it should have been a try early on. But I thought it was a decent round. I was disappointed because I watched the Cup game with Reynolds. I was disappointed, unfortunately, to see him lose that game. But I thought it was a decent round, and the Titans one was interesting and really enjoyed it.
Yep. No, well said. Yeah. I'll just say it's a real shame that Reynolds didn't play against the Broncos on Saturday because it's ironic that the Broncos and Bulldogs were playing at Belmore, and it's a ground that means so much to Reynolds. So I would have thought that with that being his last game, he'd play on the bench or something at least. But bit sad he had to suffer a loss in his final game against the Bears in reserve grade. But look, he had a great career, Reynolds. So all respect goes to him, I reckon. But look. Yeah, all these Loom comments making me laugh. But look, that's it. That's the appreciation he deserves. So I'm just glad he's finally getting those raps he has been calling for ages. But look, as to my quick thoughts on the round, honestly, it was a good round. Sucks that Manly lost to the Cowboys, but that's footy, and Cowboys are they are the real deal. Considering how they sort of started the year, they've come back well, and they're playing footy that I think we should have probably seen that backed up from last year. So they obviously turned up for a reason, and they meant it. So that's fair play to them. Look, I won't lie, the Friday game was boring. I tipped Tigers for some reason, which I don't know why. But I had faith in your boys, Champa. I had faith, but I just wait.
Don't bother anymore.
They might be the worst halves pairing I've ever seen. They are shit. So the sooner you change that, the better, I reckon. But Knights were good at home. Saturday footy was all right. Didn't really see the Roosters Storm game much because we're heading back from the bookie, but that was a good game. And then Sunday with 3 games. The first one, Warriors Sharks. Yeah, Warriors playing great, and they beat the Sharks twice this year, and they're awesome. The Warriors, I think they are locked in for a top 8 spot now. You'd think. Dolphins and Panthers. Finns are in it. They were in it for a bit, but Penrith, I think, were just too good with too much class. And the game I was at, Titans and Eels. Titans fought it hard, but I think Eels were just a bit too good. But no, look, hopefully round 21 is good as well. So I'm looking forward to next week at the same time. The whole time I just realised I had play up the week there. My bad. Jesus. I'm tired myself. Didn't really sleep till like 2 in the morning. So tell me about it. But the show goes on. But anyway, who was our round 20 player of the week? So a few standouts, obviously. But if you had to pick one, who would you pick? Dragons fan guy, I'll start with you first.
Sean Johnson.
Johnson.
I have to go with Sean Johnson.
Yeah, I like it. He was great, actually. He was great for the Warriors. And Champa, who was yours?
Man, look, on the Warriors, you can really choose their entire forward pack. I mean, Barnett, Anfield, Blake, Wade Egan, they had amazing performances against the Sharks. But if I had to choose one player in particular, it's not going to be from the Warriors. It's going to be from the Panthers. And I've been having big raps on him for a long time. And I think he's on his track for being centre of the year. And that's Isaac Tago. Because the performance he showed against the Dolphins was stellar. That try where he just literally all I had to do was run around Tafare, came up to Cody Nicarina, got rid of him, and look, he's just a strong runner. In defense, he's solid. Look, you can throw him in second row and he'll still play. Just a breeze of fresh air for him. It's like he knows the position well. He's great in defense. He's great in attack. And like I said, Isaac Tago, he's my pick for a centre of the year, and he has to be because he has just been unbelievable this year. This has been I thought last year was his breakout year. He's had a second breakout year, and this is probably bigger than last year. So sky's the limit for Isaac Tago. He's a freak of nature, and he's my player of the round.
Yeah, no, good call. That's a very good call, actually. I think on Tago, just quickly, he was very unlucky not to be picked for the Blues this year, I felt like, because I think he was... I feel like he was playing good enough to be there as well. So
his time will come.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a bit too good to be not considered. So hopefully one day. But that's a good pick, Tago. I like that. As for me, now everyone in the live chat is saying Sean Johnson, which I don't disagree with because he was fantastic on Sunday. But as for who I'd pick, though, I might go a bit different, actually. I am going to go with Clint Gutherson. I hate him. I can't stand him, as we all know. But you can't deny his effort. I think his effort was, top notch yesterday. He seems to be in everything. Seems to, I guess, give 100% on everything he does. So, I think he deserves that sort of talk up as he, probably. How do I say it? Probably wasn't good. I mean, he didn't play in Game 3 of State of Origin, but there was no point having him there. But I think because he didn't play at all, he made a statement against the Titans. So that probably made him, I guess, have the performance he did last night. So I will pick him as my player of the week. So a bit bold, but I'd say it did enough for me to get that player of the week. So a bit different, I know, but I reckon it was good enough. Yeah, and in the chat, Gutherson is everywhere and so focused. Yeah, you can't deny his effort. He's always in there doing his job. So fair enough. All right, we'll get into our 5 topics now for the show tonight. So a bit to talk about, obviously. So we will start with the very first one. And like I said before, this is the first topic of the show. So the Roosters. Yeah, I can't believe it still. The Roosters are just... This year's not their year. It just seems like they've really declined badly. They're not really playing as a side that we would think would have been in 2023. But yeah, no, they're just not winning games. They seem to lack a lot. It's hard to really tell what the real issue is. Is it Robertson? Is it the players getting a bit complacent, like Smith and stuff? I don't know, but it's hard to tell. But Champa, I'll start with you first. What's wrong with the Roosters? Like, why are they in the bottom four when there's about less than 10 weeks to go of the season being done?
Look, it's a combination of things that come into the Roosters' lackluster 2023 season. I guess one of the reasons you could bring into is injury. I've had bad luck with injury. We have with Brendan Smith, Luke Keary, Suali'i. A lot of injuries come into play. That you can use that as an excuse. However, what I think one of the big reasons is just their style of footy. It's bare basic. I mean, I'm pretty sure me, you, and Nick discussed this after Manly Cowboys when we were heading back towards Kempsey. It was just so basic. Like, there's no creativity. There's no pressure when they're when they're trying to attack the defensive line. It's so easy to read. And look, Tedesco, he's just becoming more easier to read. Like his style of footy, it's not working. The faster pace has caught up to Tedesco, and players are used to his sort of style of footy. He's sort of trying to run around the defensive line and change directions. The players are just picking that out easily. And other than that, I think Keary is also another big issue. The fact that they're backing Keary instead of Sam Walker, I don't understand, because, like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think Keary's a talented player. He is a first-grade player, but he's not a top 8, and he's definitely not a top 4 player. His time's passed. All right, the Keary that we knew that paired with Cooper Cronk and won all those premierships, that's not the same Keary anymore. The injuries have caught up to him. His star level has gone down, and if Roosters are fair dinkum on becoming that juggernaut again, they need to back Sam Walker, because he is the future, and they need to find a perfect half pairing for him. Other than that, look, I guess a lot of the blame can be put on Brendan Smith as well. He came in, he was their marquee signing. Brendan Smith was their marquee signing. He was gonna, change the club. He was gonna revolutionize the spine. Unfortunately, he was out for a while. But other than that, the games he has been in, he's been very underwhelming. And against the Storm, not a lot from him.
No, not at all.
So I want to put all the blame on Robson. I still think Robson is a talented coach, and I reckon he look. There have been games where the Roosters have been competitive, but I think that they need to change their whole style of footy. It's basic, it's bland, it's boring, and it's no pressure. And Luke Keary is also a big issue, and they need to move him on as fast as possible and back Sam Walker. The fact that Sam Walker is playing all these reserve grade games and Luke Keary has been starting is beyond me. But that's my take on the Roosters.
No, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Look, it's really hard to lay a finger on what the real issue is there. I think, I do think Keary and some of the more, I guess, experienced players in that team should make a bit more of a statement as their leaders and do a bit more. But it seems to be it seems to be like a real confidence thing. So, fucking hell, CJ, far out. But yeah, no, it's a tough one. It's a tough one for sure. Dragons fan guy, what's your take on the Roosters this year? Really are not the same side, are they?
No, I think it's an aging side. I think, even though I like Tedesco, I think he's past his best, and he's not up to the speed of a 2023 NRL season. I think it's getting too fast for him. And what Champa said, that teams are just picking him apart now. And I think Luke Keary is, again, I agree with Champa, way past his best. And like Sam Walker, I don't know why he's playing cup. I would never put him in cup, and no other team would put him in cup. If he went to any other team, he'd be starting each week. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Robson's just trying to think of the past success they've had and not the future. The recruitment's been not the greatest. And we've got a bit of echo again. I'll try to fix this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think they need a new halfback personally, but I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think Keary, as Champ was saying, I think Keary's a bit washed up and is not the same player he was a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago in 2018 or 9, stuff like that. I mean, Sam Smith's a good kid. What's that?
The last comment I'd just say is I think maybe it's time Brandon Smith to find a new position for him.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe it's time to stop playing him at hooker. I think personally, I think it's time to. I don't think it's worked out for him that great at the Roosters, and I think maybe they ought to look at moving him somewhere else. But not even if they do that, Turpin's not the answer, but it's a possibility, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, yeah. No, that's actually an interesting point you make there, because I don't disagree with it. I think he's a bit different compared to, I mean, a starting full-time hooker to be, like at Melbourne, he was like a bench player that would play a bit of lock and hooker and not play the full game. But I think with that more responsibility, he struggled so far. So I don't disagree with that. I think a positional change might have to happen. Just in the live chat, got Nick from Australia in the chat. He says, "Good evening, brotherhood," or good evening back to you, even though it's nearly 8 o'clock at night. But good evening anyway. That's the beautiful catchphrase. But he says he's home and safe and sound, and that's great to hear, because it was a great weekend to spend with yourself and everyone else. So that's awesome to hear, bro. Awesome. But I think, Champa, were you going to say something?
Oh, it was just in terms of Brendan Smith. If you were to move him out of hooker, obviously I don't think you'll take lock, because that's Victor Radley's spot.
Yeah.
Would a move to prop be a decision? Because you got Jared Weir-Hargreaves who's aging, and he won't be in the clubs very long. And Brendan Smith has had prop experience at Melbourne Storm, so he could slide into there. My only issue with that is he needs to pick up some weight if he's going to play prop, because he will get hammered.
He would. Yeah.
Lots of great kebab shops in the area near the Roosters for him. Sure.
That's a tough one, because I think the modern day game today, I think that suits stockier, bigger, smaller forwards, which could suit Brandon Smith with leg speed and stuff. But it's a big change to make. But I don't see it happening with Hargreaves staying for another year and Lenu and Collins all there. But it's not a bad, suggestion, because it could actually work for him pretty well if that happened. But
other than that, I'd see him as a Jersey 14 player. He comes on as hooker, or he just you throw him at lock. I think that'd probably be a better position for him, Jersey 14, because he's not an 80-minute player, that's for sure. And maybe more experience in hooker would be better for in lock will be more beneficial for him.
Yeah, maybe. I think at Melbourne that's where he killed it last time. So it's a decision that maybe Robertson has to make, I think. But look, I think he's one of the reasons why Roosters have struggled this year, because they put a lot of faith with him to be that, Messiah hooker that would take them to the promised lands and stuff like that. But he hasn't done that. So that's probably part of the Roosters' downfall. But I agree. I think Keary is washed up. I think they need to go in a different direction and find someone else that can lead that side. Because they've got Sam Walker. But for some reason they're not going to pick him, and they seem to be hesitant to even choose him in the 22-man squad. So Why that's the case, I don't know, because I don't think that's right personally. But you know, the Roosters are a mess, and I don't know where they go and fix their stuff up, honestly. But we'll move on now, and this is going to get controversial because there were 2 suspensions last night, 2 suspensions, and that was to both Eagles players Regan Campbell-Gillard and Mike Sevo, both charged. Which I think Sevo's 4 weeks, and I think Regan Campbell-Gillard's 3 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the suspensions for them both. Basically, Sevo came in with a swinging arm, which was a high tackle on Jojo Fafita, and I think Regan Campbell-Gillard dropped his knees into one of the Titans players. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, they're both missing some time on the sidelines. That hurts the Eels a lot as finals approaches. But in the chat, CJ says RCG could be 5 weeks and Sevo 3 weeks. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, that's a long time out. But Champa, what do you think about this? Like, I'm assuming you saw the tackle Sevo did and the drop of the knees of Campbell-Gillard. Is it fair enough, these suspensions, or would you change something?
Don't agree with Sevo. Agree with Regal Campbell-Gillard. I'll start with Regal Campbell-Gillard. Look, accident, yeah, probably. Sliding knee to the ribs, that's very dangerous. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm going back way ages ago, but I'm pretty sure Dylan Brownman did that to Drew Hutchinson ages ago, and it resulted in a punctured lung. I'm pretty sure it was something similar to that, but it did involve diving in, going straight to the ribs. He could have did that too. I don't know who he was tackling, but Regal Campbell-Gillard could have did the same. Could have led to some very ugly injuries. So a suspension of 5 weeks would have been comfortable at probably 4 or 3, but. Look, it's understandable. Now the Sevo one. Now, like you say, swinging an arm. I think that's a bit too heavy, considering that it was mostly his shoulder that made more contact with the head. But he's running up. He's trying to run up and pull off a big hit, and he gets penalized for it. Now, we always come back to this sort of dilemma, this conversation of what constitutes a high shot and everything like that. I don't think Sevo's intention was to tackle high, because if you watch the video, he wasn't trying to sort of go for a coat hanger. He was sort of running up and trying to grab him like that and bring him to the ground. It's unfortunate that his shoulder and even some of his arm was a bit high, got into contact with the head, and that resulted in a sin bin and now him getting suspended. Look, we're penalizing players for making efforts of pulling off big hits, and this is something I don't agree. It takes the aggression out of the game. It takes the it takes the excitement. It takes the ferocity out of the game. But at the end of the day, it is a high shot. But it's just such a hard thing to discuss. But I don't agree with it. Sin bin, probably suspended. That's now we're pushing boundaries. 3 weeks, we're pushing boundaries there. I thought it was a brilliant tackle. I saw nothing wrong with it. If you wanted to bin him because he made contact with the head, why not? But then to suspend him, that's a bit harsh. And 3 weeks for that? I've seen worse. I'm going to say that. I've seen worse. So that's all I'm going to say.
Look, with Sevo's one, look, I agree. I don't believe that's worthy of a 3 week suspension. There's no way. But I think with how the NRL operates this year in 2023, I think any contact that's tied to the head or the neck or something, they're going to suspend it either way, and they're going to call it out. It's ridiculous, I know, but that's how the game operates this year. They're going to be a bit more stricter on any contact towards the head or the neck or anything higher. So it's a bit disappointing to see that, but that's what the game has come to, I think. But yeah, I agree. That's not a 3 week suspension. And sorry, Dragons fan guy, what's your thoughts on these suspensions? Do you disagree?
I think Campbell-Gillard definitely suspension's worth it, but the CEVO, I don't think it should be suspended, and I think the NRL need to be a lot clearer about the high tackling thing. I think a lot more, and well, I don't know what they want. If they want players to wear a bloody helmet or something, I don't really know.
Who
I mean,
knows?
no player goes out on the field to make a high tackle. It's an accident. Sevo would never intentionally do it, and I didn't think it was anywhere much near the head at all. Kind of lower. I don't. It's one of those difficult ones. I
Mm.
really don't know, I don't know what the NRL want us to do. If we want to turn it into like touch or something, I don't really know what they expect with it. It's ridiculous. And then they let some players off with it. We look at Nelson from Melbourne. He gets away with a whole heap of shit. And
Yeah.
it's just nonsense. I think they need to be a lot clearer, but they probably won't. Unfortunately, it's just crap, mate. Just crap.
Yeah, no, it is. I am disappointed with the inconsistencies of the game. Like seriously, the referee, or the bunker, I should say, more so the bunker that really gets invested into these sort of things. You can't trust them with making these sort of decisions. It's best that technology and their course stay out of it. I feel like that's just me, but that's just again some very controversial and awful decisions been made there by the game. But look, it's tough. It's tough to tell what the real suspension should be. But I will just say quickly, thankfully Tino got suspended and called out for once. Like honestly, it's about time.
About damn time.
Finally.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so satisfying when I saw that. He got away with breaking up his jaw. Seeing him get suspended, made my day.
Yeah, about damn time. How many have we seen him do? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
Do you know how long it's for, though? He's suspended for?
I don't know if there's an official suspension yet. Like there could be, but I haven't really seen the official call yet. All I saw was they got charged for a shoulder charge. So haven't really seen much ever since. So, but yeah, I guess they'll announce something soon if there is a real suspension coming up. 2 to 3 weeks apparently. CJ says, okay, well, I believe that's fair. I believe that's fair enough because I think he needs a suspension after what he's gotten away with. But I gotta say that the forearm, he always charges with the forearm, and the bunker, Graham Annesley, they say that's no intent. They say it's an accident. I call bullshit because he did that to Reed Marnie in the Titans Bulldogs game a couple months ago now. Tigers and the Titans, he did it to Appy and broke his jaw. And they say that was not an accident. That was an accident. No intent there. How?
Yeah, and using that no intent argument, well, we can put that argument onto Marcus Sevo. He had no intent to go right, and now he's facing 3 weeks. There's no consistency, and this is where the NRL really needs to clear up a lot of plot holes that are in their rules, because it's a headache for us fans, and I can just imagine how much of a headache it is for the players.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because if I can say, I'm sure that no player's ever gone out on a field to intentionally do it, or thought about it. It's just we've been told mixed messages from the NRL for how long about it, saying certain things, sin binnings, and it all
Too
just
long.
the bunker. I think the bunker gets involved too much. I think it gets involved too much, and then once it gets involved too much, they get the wrong call. Even we watched on the replay, we know it's wrong as fans, but they stupidly go against it. It's bloody stupid. It just pisses me off. But I'm happy to see Tino finally get punished for it. He deserves it to get punished for it, not Sevo.
Yeah, no, he does. Because he did the forearm to Mitchell Moses as well, but for some reason that didn't get called out at all. So,
and then he broke Appy's jaw, and that was nothing was done about it. It's just blows my mind with it, really.
Yeah, me too. Because the forearms obviously done damage to Marnie, Coruscant, nearly to Moses, but no call out. Yeah, no wonder. Seriously, no wonder. Protected species at its best. We'll move on though. Yeah. So on to topic number 3 now, and this is I guess discussion and talk about Justin Holbrook, the former Titans coach who got sacked last month, and yeah, there's some speculation going around that some NRL clubs are targeting him, including some Super League clubs, and they want him as either a head coach if their current coach gets sacked, or as an assistant at best. Which is interesting because there's a few NRL clubs like Manly, Cowboys, and maybe Dragons as well, because they're cleaning out their coaching staff and stuff. Yeah, they're looking for, I guess, a new, new minds or something, like another assistant in the coaching department. So there's a few clubs out there that could use Holbrook in the NRL, and same with the Super League. But depends who gets him though. But he's fan guy. With, I guess, Holbrook now being a free agent and looking for, I guess, a club that will take him on as a head coach or assistant, where do you see him going in the future?
It's a hard one because I know he's been linked to quite a lot of clubs. I personally see him either going to the Cowboys or possibly a Super League club personally. But no, I think Newcastle should keep him in their eye. Wouldn't be possibly an option if Adam goes, possibly. But I personally would see the Cowboys being a good option for him personally.
Yep. Yeah, no, because they need an assistant with Dean Young going to the Dragons as back to the club as an assistant. So that's a good point, actually. I think Cowboys are in the running for him. So, yeah, no, that wouldn't hurt them at all. Champa, where do you see Holbrook potentially going in the future?
Yeah, look, I agree. Cowboys is a great option. Him to be working with Todd Payton, I reckon they could take Cowboys to that even next level. Yeah, it's just I think if you any club that's looking for a great assistant coach should really have Justin Holbrook, on their on number one on their list, because I really thought he was hard done by getting sacked after a win. It's very, very confusing to see, and it really came out of nowhere because I thought he was going to be a mainstay club at the Titans, but obviously not. They've decided to go with Des Hasler, so okay. But look, I'd even be happy if he came to the Tigers. Look, we're going to get into them very soon, and a fresh new coaching staff, and I think Justin Holbrook fits right and well. So yeah, I think Cowboys. My number one choice would be Cowboys for him. I think he'll fit in perfectly with them.
Cowboys, yeah, no, they're a club that needs an assistant, as I said, and yeah, I think with the proven track record Holbrook has had as a coach, I think it helped the Cowboys even more. So, yeah, no, good point. But yeah, look, obviously, I've always got respect for Justin Holbrook because he coached St. Helens in the Super League and delivered us a couple of titles over there. So I'll be forever grateful for what he did for Saints. But yeah, I see him getting in a NRL club. I think that's the way to go for Holbrook. I think someone will take him on as an assistant, go from there in 2024. We need an assistant as well, Manly do, because Shane Flanagan's obviously going to be a Dragons coach next year. So, I don't know what Seabold's relationship is like with Holbrook, but I wouldn't mind having Holbrook as an assistant along with Jim Dimmick, our other one. So that could be an option as well, which I like. But yeah, the Cowboys make a lot of sense because I think there was an article yesterday or the day before that the Cowboys are holding, I guess, some sort of talks or discussion with Holbrook's management about coming to the club as an assistant. So it seems like they're the strongest candidate to get him so far, the Cowboys. But honestly, I hope Manly get him because I've always rated Holbrook. I think at the Titans he didn't have a fair go. But he did a good job there. Like in 2020, took them to nearly the finals in his first year. 2021 top 8, 2022 disappointing year, but that happens. Then 2023 is not even over yet, and they sacked him mid-year. That just affects the whole Titans team. So that's weird by Titans management to treat him like that, I feel like. So look, wherever he goes, he'll do a good job, I hope. But I think Manly Cowboys are the strongest candidates in my opinion. But who knows? Like it may be a Storm or even a Tigers. Like there was rumors about Tigers as well looking at him for something. So have to wait and see, I suppose. Have to wait and see. Okay, now we're on to one of the bigger topics of the show tonight, and this is huge because this is not ideal to see the argument or more drama, I should say, at the Tigers because Tigers are going through enough already, but now it's gone worse with future coach Benji Marshall and just recently appointed recruitment manager Scott Fulton, and there seems to be a lot of tension about what players should be brought to the club and what players should go where and stuff like that. It seems to be getting worse day by day, and the Tigers have enough drama. This adds to it and makes it worse. Like I'm sorry to hear this, Champa, because Tigers just can't catch a break. But I think you're very passionate about this topic, so the floor is yours, bro. You can give your thoughts on this one. What do you make about it all?
Well, I've got a lot of things to share on the podcast because minutes before we were on air, I was watching real quickly the interview with Lee Hadjimatalis on the NRL 360, and they really gave it to him. But I want to focus on that interview when they discussed Scott Fulton, his position at the club, and his relationship with Benji Marshall. So Lee Hadjimatalis states that Scott Fulton's position is to be the head advisor of recruiting players. So whenever he wants a player to come to the club, he'll speak with Scott Fulton would be the first one to speak to their manager. Now the relationship, he says, between Fulton and Marshall, he describes it as a storm in a teacup, meaning there is animosity, there is some sort of back and forth between the two. However, it's still kept as professional. Right. But he does say that when it comes to the final decision of the player, of a player, whoever it is, it always comes down to the head coach, and the club will always back the head coach. So in Lee Hadjimatalis' words, Benji Marshall always gets the final say on any player, which is, as we can see, with Benji Marshall going with Aiden Caesar and not Jack Cogger. Now, all right, where was I here? Yes. So the reason why Scott Fulton is having a big issue, and I think his status as a well-known recruiter, obviously at Manly he recruited Kolowa, he recruited Schuster. Would you know anyone else? Another player I'm thinking in my head.
Dooley, Fafita,
Fafita. Exactly. All those who have went on to become, big names in the NRL. He brings that status. Now, the reason why most NRL managers or players are hesitant to bring their players to the West Tigers is because of the state of the club and just how the history of recruitment, which is one of the big reasons why the Finey brothers aren't going to the Tigers and the Dolphins are more of the favourites.
Yeah.
Fulton had them locked in, however, the back and forth between him and Marshall. Now, my thoughts on the whole Marshall-Fulton situation. Fulton needs to remember his position in the club. He's not a head coach. He's a recruitment. He's a recruitment. Whatever. He's a recruiter. He recruits players. He brings them to the eyes of Benji Marshall, and Benji Marshall will have to say if he wants to go to that direction or not. His role is to find players. If there's a player that he wanted, But Benji Marshall doesn't like. He needs to understand he's not the coach. If he wants to be a coach, he's happy to leave the club and find a team to coach. I back Benji Marshall here. All right, this isn't coming from bias or anything like that. He is the coach. And when it comes to turns between Aiden Caesar and Jack Cutler, okay, Aiden Caesar may be on a 1-year contract, but in that 1 year, we're going to get a player who's been in the grand final, who's been in winning teams, and is a star player, opposed to Jack Cogger, who was actually for a 3-year deal, and he hasn't even finished a full year of rugby league. So, I mean, come on. It's up to you. I back Benji Marshall's decision. And I do think this will all go away soon, as, you know, they will have to understand the, you know, that the West Tigers are more important instead of this constant bickering between them. However, look, in my personal opinion, Scott Fulton needs to remember his place. He's not the head coach. He's just a recruiter. Benji Marshall always gets the final say, whether you like it or not.
No, look, well said. No, genuinely well said. I think that's a fair assessment on the whole situation. You know, it really is unnecessary to see more, I guess, arguments and drama occur at the Tigers, because usually like last, right? So it's not needed to have Ford and Marshall and even Sheen's in the background too having this debacle over players coming, and because they fight over Luke Brooks leaving the club, because I think Sheen's and Marshall wanted to keep him, but Ford wanted to make changes to the roster and move him on. And yeah, like Marshall wanted Caesar, Ford wanted Cogger, disagreed, and it looks like Caesar's going to come though, I think. But no, look, Champa, well said. As a Tigers fan, I think that's a fair point you made there, and honestly, I hope it all resolves soon, because the sooner this gets all fixed, the better. But I hate to say it, but I don't trust one thing that Hanga Patella says, though. I think he's a bit of a yes man and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't trust him.
I don't trust Tim. I don't trust Justin Pascoe. I watched that interview and I could see the nose growing on his face. That's all I can say. I could see the nose was growing on his face.
Pinocchio, yeah. Look, yeah. I think Pascoe and Hanga Patelis have to go. But the bad thing is, Hanga Patelis is the chairman, so he can't sack himself. But you know, hopefully there's a fan push or something to get him out of the club. The sooner the better. Dragons fan guy, what's your take on this whole situation? It's very ugly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very ugly. I don't really have as much to say as Champa, but I think it should be up to the coaches, and that Fulton shouldn't consider himself to have a lot of power, and it's really up to the coaches, and that I don't really have much more to say about it. I haven't really been reading into it as much, so I think it's really up to the coaches and that. But if just with that Aiden Caesar thing, where would you play him? Where would you play him in the team if he comes?
Oh, look, halfback for sure.
Halfback, yeah, I agree. Halfback. They need to fill that hole that Luke Brooks is going to leave when he eventually does leave. So I think halfback's a perfect position for Caesar, taking full control of the side. For 5'8", look, we just got reports that Dewey's going to be out for most of next season, which is going to be tough.
I don't think they're keeping Dewey, though, are they? I don't think they're keeping Dewey.
Yeah, they're shopping him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, understandable. So he's injury prone, and I think another couple will be, best for him.
I think Caesar's a good I think Caesar's personally a good signing, but I don't think he's a long-term signing. I think he's a short fix, but I just wonder who's next after him again. Like, if it's like, say he finishes next year and retires, like, is it going to be more of a drama after? Like, who's the long-time one there? Like,
I think it's smart that we signed him only on a 1-year deal. because then we can really see where our direction is going to be towards the future. If Caesar comes into the club and he pulls pulls Sean Johnson and revitalizes his whole career, then yeah, I reckon we can throw the book out for probably a possible 1 more year or 2 years. Or we can say, all right, Caesar's set the platform. Now, while Caesar's here, we're going to look at our next long-term halfback, and we're going to make some, do some talks under the table, it's behind closed doors, and see who our next long-term halfback is, while we have that hole sort of already covered in Aiden Caesar. Aiden Caesar's taking care of it for now. While he's doing that, we're going to try and find our next long-term halfback. Or Aiden Caesar might come out, have a stellar performance, shock everyone, and and we'll say, all right.
I think he's a good signing. I just wonder who's the long term though.
I think I think next year's going to decide what's our plan in terms of our halves. But
yeah. Actually, in terms of who's a long-term half, the Tigers could have and could actually embark as their long-term halfback or 5'8". There's someone called Lachlan Galvin I've heard about, and he's a St. Gregory's Junior, which is out Campbelltown way, and I think the same sort of junior, I guess, area that young talent De Silva's from. So, and I think that Lachlan Galvin, he'll be upgraded to the top 30 next year, and he's young halfback coming through, and I think he, I don't know if he played, but he was in the under-19s New South Wales Blues squad. So, and he's come through school.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So there's some, I guess, talk and some actually good things about him that I've seen. So maybe he's someone that may come in a bit early and partner with Caesar, or could come after Caesar retires. I don't know.
It's good that you mentioned De Silva as well, because he's also a player that's looking to be in terms of our halves sort of development plan in the future, because he was a top 50 schoolboy last year, so he's got the credentials right there. He's out of that top 50. He was one of the only 4 to actually get an NRL contract. I believe it was him, Isaac Atoa, and top of my head, I don't know who else. I think Paul Alamotti. Probably not, but he's the future of the club, De Silva, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have a big part of our recruitment plan. And this is also why I like Aiden Caesar. Aiden Caesar can come in and sort of help. Him and Marshall can help mentor these young halves like De Silva, and also help Waken and Will Smith. I mean, look, they're struggling right now, and to get some players with their credentials, their experience to come, and help them take a lot of the pressure off their shoulders, I reckon that's going to help us so much. A much smarter decision than Jack Cogger. Much smarter.
What are your opinions on them being linked to Croft?
Brody Croft. I think it's. Look, I think it's not a bad decision. I mean, look. Lorenzo, you would know more Super League than I do. He's been killing it up there, apparently. And look, I'll be happy. Look, I really can't say, because the last time we took an informed half from the Super League, he ended up leaving us within a year. So I really can't, really say much. But I wouldn't be. I'd be open to the discussion of Brody Croft coming to the Tigers. I reckon that could help us a lot.
Yeah, look, whatever Tigers do, hopefully it's for the better. But I think some building and some changes have to be made, and have to be good changes that actually sustain longer than the ones that they've made in the past. So,
Exactly.
hopefully the best is coming from the Tigers. But on to the 5th and final topic now. A bit of a fun one, bit of a, I guess, early prediction, I guess. So, obviously, at the start of the year, we had all our predictions set in stone and stuff like that, like grand final predictions and top try scorer predictions, and I guess even rookie of the year predictions, which we'll touch into it in a second. But with, I guess, less than 10 weeks to go the season, or the regular season to go, we're in round 21 now. what's our final tip for Rookie of the Year? Because there's been so many rookies that have stood out this year, and actually some that didn't think that would be at that stage of being talked about as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. But there's been a few, so I guess whoever wins it will be well deserving, I'd say. But Dragons fan guy, based on what you've seen this year, who would your Rookie of the Year be? And last prediction of Rookie of the Year?
Jacob Preston.
That's a good one. That's a good one. He's been great for the Bulldogs, actually, hasn't he?
I'd have to say him, but I mean, as a backup, you can't. I think he's or Katoa, maybe him and Katoa, but I'd say Preston is definitely my choice.
Yeah, no, he's a gun, Preston. I rate him a lot, so that's a good call to make there. Champa, who would your Rookie of the Year be?
Preston was my pick for a long time. I thought how he's come into the Bulldogs side and really made that second row position his is fantastic. However, I just cannot look past Tunava. Sunra Tunava from the Penrith Panthers. Geez, how Taylor May is going to make it back into the side is going to be pretty hard when you have that flying Fijian Tunava just absolutely tearing it up at the Penrith Panthers. Because when Taylor May was injured throughout the whole year, at the start of the year, we thought, all right, they've just let go of they've just let go of a lot of their star players, and now one of their star wingers, Taylor May, has just been injured for the whole season. How are they going to fill that hole? Tunava comes into the side. It's like he's been playing NRL his entire career. He's fitted so well. Like he doesn't even look like he has a lot of pressure, because when you look at a lot of rookies, especially, they may have one stellar game. I think Jacob Arthur is a perfect example. They have one good stellar game. However, the pressure of first grade is like unbearable, and they seem to fall off and have a string of woeful games. When you look at someone like Tunava, he's just so comfortable on that wing, and nothing seems to faze him. And he's a first grade player. He doesn't deserve to be dropped next year. If they drop him next year, if I'm Tunava, I'm saying, all right, you drop me next year, I'm going to look at somewhere else. I think fair to it, because he is a first grade player. So my Rookie of the Year is Tunava.
Oh, I like it, but there's one thing though. I don't know if he's eligible though, because didn't he play a few games last year as well? But I think the limit is 3 or 5 games. So
yeah, I would. Would you count World Cup games?
I wouldn't actually. No.
I think
just NRL games. Yeah. So you might
I will have to look at that up, because that's a good choice. Look, if he's not eligible, I'm going to go Buller, because I think Buller's coming to Buller's going to be our next full-time fullback. So look, Tunava is my first option, but if he's somehow not eligible, if anyone in the comment section can actually do quick research to see if it is eligible, then yes, Tunava. Backup option is Buller.
Yeah, no, I like it. Hopefully he's eligible though to River. But as for me, yeah, I was actually going to say Jordan Buller as well. I like Buller. I think he's a bit like a. Now, I don't like comparing players, because obviously, and young players too, to like bigger and experienced players as well. But the way Buller looks, it's a bit like how Tedesco was in his rookie days in 2012 and 11. Very similar, I think. Because, Buller's always looking for the ball. He's always, getting involved with tackles, and including on Friday, like that try saver and Dominic Young. That was awesome. That was awesome. That's some insane effort for a rookie to make a tackle like that. And also just the way I guess he adjusted himself to a game. Like he's a big, powerful frame. Got some footwork and speed. He came through the same, I guess. He came from Kebra Park with a few other stars like Fafita, Haas, and Walsh. So he's come through a good system there. And I think the Tigers need to re-sign him quickly. Then they have to, because if Tigers want to get any better anytime soon, they go look at who's the future and stuff. And I think Buller is a big part of it. So they can't let this kid go. They cannot let this kid go. So I think Buller for me is my rookie of the year. In a struggling Tigers team all year, he's been a bright shining light, and that's credit to him. So I think he's my rookie of the year. But we'll see what happens because there's a lot of options and candidates, so it should be good to see who gets it by September. But everyone, that officially wraps up Yanko Breaker podcast for tonight, episode 65 done and dusted. I'd like to thank everyone that tuned in and commented and watched right through the start to the end. Means a lot. And of course, both All Out Champa and Dragons fan guy, thank you very much for being on the podcast yet again.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on, mate. Thanks everyone for watching.
Everybody remember to subscribe to Pro Enzo Vidz and All Out Champa. I'm sure that Pro Enzo's got it down in the description below, so go and check their guys out. They're really great guys and worth watching, and love being on with them. And thanks for having me again. So it's good to talk to you boys.
No worries, bro. I appreciate that. I'll definitely link your YouTube very soon because you're at late notice. So I'll definitely do that after the podcast has ended. But cheers again, guys, and bring on next week. Episode 66 should be good. But other than that, came for the footy this weekend, and good luck to all your sides if you're playing. But thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to both All Out Champas and Dragons Fan Guys channels as well. Until then, thanks for watching, and have a good night.